It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 394. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe.
Getting close to 400.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
How about that?
I know.
That's, it's not nothing.
That's not nothing indeed.
We should do a bit. No, let's not.
It's too late now.
It's going to be too much work. We already do a lot of work on this. Let's not move.
Well, what is this wee shit?
I'm here, aren't I? I've got dick jokes aplenty lined up for the episode.
All right.
That's what I'm here for.
All right, listeners, let's count how many dick jokes he gets in.
Now
Make sure he's really ready.
Yeah.
See what that kind of prep he did.
Oh, goodness. So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
We have a really fun interview with Rob and Nicole Cesternino.
Yes.
And for those of you listening, if either of those names sound familiar, you might have heard both of them actually on Rob's podcast. It's Rob has a podcast.
Yeah.
And
that's the name of it.
That is.
You're not just telling people that Rob has a podcast.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
And he was also on an early season of Survivor.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the podcast came to be. We'll talk all about that. But anyway, these two are hilarious. We had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And that's a really great interview coming up. We also we're going to talk through the tarot predictions from 2024 because now the article is out.
Yes.
We can talk through that.
We will grade Erica McClean's work.
We will.
Yes.
There's also, it's very interesting about these Peloton items that you can find in stores besides Peloton. Well, just want to be careful about those.
Yeah,
We'll get into that.
Some issues.
Yeah. So we'll talk about those. And there's some things, there's a bunch of store closings we need to talk about that have happened and that are going to be happening.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We also have just a bunch of news about the different instructors. If you've been wondering what's going on with Salena and her schedule, we've got some updates for you. We also have some updates for Emma and Tunde, DJ John Michael. We've got artist series. We've got a big announcement on a competitor.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Celebrity sighting we have. And there's a bunch of in case you missed it and things like that. New content, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you are there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That is super helpful.
It is.
And greatly appreciated.
Yes.
And you can also, if you want to support the show, well, we would love for you to support the show.
We would.
We have a Patreon, patreon.com/real spoilers. It's only $5 a month.
That's right.
I feel like people are going to start to think that I've just pre-recorded little snippets of it. You're not even here. It's just I hit a button and you're like, sure, absolutely.
I just wanted to see how many times it took before you commented on it. For the record, it was 5.
Yeah. It's like, she's going to get mad if I'm critiquing her. And then it was like, okay, this is purposeful. Now I'm going to call her out.
Was it the devilish grin?
Yes. Yes, it was. So anyway, our Patreon, it's only $5 a month.
Uh-huh. That's right.
Careful, or I'm gonna say things that you might not want to agree so readily to. Anyway, our aforementioned Patreon, third time's a charm. It's only $5 a month. You get all sorts of bonus content, and it just helps support the show. There's lots of expenses tied up in stuff like this, and if you have the means, it would be greatly appreciated. And you get bonus content every week. We record an additional episode of 20 to 30 minutes. They've been trending a little bit longer lately.
We've been real chatty.
We've been very chatty, and we just cover things we didn't get to in the show, or maybe we talk about things that are maybe not necessarily super Peloton related, but Peloton adjacent. This week, talking about a podcast talking about ARFID, which is an eating disorder that people speculate that I have.
Yeah, I think it's totally true.
Yeah, and we'll go into that a little bit. And then just the things we didn't have time to get to, right?
Yeah.
Some of the smaller stories that are still interesting, but we're just trying to not be super long over here. And you also get these episodes completely ad-free. And then if we get them early, you get them early. So most people, typically you're getting them on Thursday, a lot of times before noon.
Mm-hmm.
But we're at the mercy of the editors. Thank you, editors.
We appreciate you, editors.
Yeah. Also, you can watch all of these over on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, if you want all these links sent directly to your inbox, you can sign up for the newsletter over at theclipout.com. So there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
So last week's guest was Erica McClean.
Yes.
And she had all sorts of predictions for 2025, but she does this every year.
She does.
Peloton predictions are, that was our thing.
It was long. we literally have a button that says you are the Peloton prophet because we've been doing it forever.
For so long. But,
since 2017.
Yeah. But we went back through her predictions for 2024.
And by we mean Nikki.
Yes.
Help her be Nikki.
Yes.
She did a word count on this article.
Yeah.
9,000 words.
Whoa.
Nikki. That's a lot of words.
That's a lot of words.
Good Lord.
So how did she do? She did pretty good.
She did real good.
I mean, there's some things that she predicted with frightening accuracy.
I think we should talk about a few that she got spot on. And then I think we talk about a couple that were like close.
Okay.
Or maybe just mention in passing the ones that weren't 100% accurate. Sure. But the one that like stood out to me the most is that Erica said when we talked to her. So this was November of 2023 that we talked to her. And she said, there's going to be a lot of action, but action not in a bad way. I feel like there are going to be more things going on authority wise, maybe switching positions. I felt that maybe even instructors climbing the ladder to even more authority or a business type position. Well, okay, in May of 2024, Barry McCarthy stepped down, and then in came the co-CEOs, Chris Brezzo and Karen Boone. Now, they had long been board members that stepped up to this position in the interim. And then, of course, as we know, at the end of the year, they announced that Peter Stern would be taking over January of 2025. Welcome, Peter, if you're listening, by the way. So that was interesting. Now, the other really, really big one was whenever Erica said that there were going to be instructors leaving. She said, when I was pulling cards, I did see the possibility of somebody leaving. I got the vision of someone staying at Peloton, but taking time off to explore other opportunities in the fitness realm. And if somebody leaves, I see a male instructor, possibly who's been there somebody for a while and higher on the totem pole. They have a lot to say, but not bad. They're expressing it on social media. It's something behind the scenes, maybe related to clashes or feeling unrecognized. And then she goes on about this for a little bit, but this one was the one that like we all wish had not been right, because it ended up being that like first Ross left, which was the male instructor who had been there, and he was pretty darn high on the totem pole. And then he announced that he would be leaving. And then the next month we heard about Kendall, and then we heard about Kristen McGee, and then Tobias, unrelated to everything else, also left right after that. So it kind of was like boom, boom, boom. I think, Ross leaving was the most shocking. Yeah. But then I think the saddest one was when Kristen announced that she was leaving. I feel like those both hit people differently than when other instructors have left, although they are always upsetting to people, no matter who they are.
Everybody has their following that is upset when they leave.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and there was lots of drama around social media and things that were said. And I mean, I think we can all agree, whatever happened with the contract negotiations, Kristen didn't want to leave. Yeah. Like she clearly wanted to stay. And so there was a lot of clashing. And I definitely remember Kristen posting about, if you're not where you are appreciated, then you have to leave. And it's just very, very, very reminiscent of exactly, almost word for word, what Erica said. So that's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Okay, management change was the third one, and then we know that Barry was out,
right?
And here comes Peter Stern. So that was a big deal,
and that was a pretty bold prediction, even though there was still a lot of dissatisfaction with how Peloton was being run. Like even CEOs who are struggling typically get a little bit more.
Yeah, that was like here one day, gone the next.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened, but that could not have been.
Yeah,
everybody was not on the same page.
Yeah, like it's easy to look back and be like, well, obviously that was going to happen. And it's like, no, it wasn't really so obvious because one, everybody was shocked when it happened.
Yeah.
You can pretend like you knew how the Sixth Sense was going to end, but you're a liar, and that's what's going on here. And yeah, it was just like that is not. You don't typically bring in CEOs for a 13-month tenure.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where it is listed here, but here it is. This is like the most chilling one, if you will, that she talked about the instructor stepping back, not leaving, but taking a hiatus, a break or something. And then all these instructors are now taking furloughs.
Right.
And I mean, they can call it whatever they want. They're off seasons, they're taking a rest, whatever, but it's to save money. And that's okay. Like we want Peloton to be around. We're not upset about it, but it's still a furlough.
Well, you can be upset about it, but you understand.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Like we're not mad that it's happening. We're sad that it's happening. Those are different. And then there were tons of other good ones. She's had lots and lots. These go on for quite a while. There were several where she was pretty close to talking about Robin Arzon maybe being like she's going to be CEO. And apparently you technically said this because you suggested, is Robin going to be CEO? And Erica was like, well, I was thinking something like that. I was pulling cards, and the cards, it was Robin. I pulled the Empress, and to me, Robin is the Empress. But the real outcome is that she had a huge year. She competed in her first High Rocks competition, rubbed elbows with Richard Branson when she co-hosted the Strive 2024 Adventure on Necker Island. And she had all of this expansion in her Instagram reach with all those new recipes that she's been posting, which we still think could turn into that recipe book. And then she was keynote speaker for like a billion things and her 10th anniversary. So maybe it wasn't officially a CEO, but she had a great year.
Yes.
Then there was the Peloton on Tour Part 2. Is that going to happen? And they were like, well, they want something like that, but we think that they need to do something different. So I don't think it's going to be like that as it is this year. It's going to look different this year. And it did, because they had all these instructors go out really similar to just like visiting stores. It wasn't an on tour kind of thing at all. And then she asked about the clip out, or we asked about the clip out, and Erica said that she saw us traveling for the show in the warmer months, potentially involving instructors. In 2024, you'll be busy with guests and project for the show, but it's going to pay off in a big way. And this was partially true. I mean, we had Ross Rayburn on the show. Yeah. He was on the book club, and we also got to go to Podcast Movement in August. Yeah. And it was extremely hot.
Which is where we met today's guest from Survivor.
It is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a full circle moment there. Tying things together. That's crazy. And then talking about things that were like, they didn't quite pan out at all. A new modality for Rad. Like she really thought that there was going to be something new for him specifically. And, here's the thing. We don't know. He hasn't officially moved to anything other than strength, but he has become quite the runner, and he does often invite people to go running with him. You still can't help but wonder if someday, if that's in the cards.
Something's in the works.
You never know. And the UK row instructors, this one's crazy to me. It never panned out, but like we definitely had images of Ben leaked that he was on the Ben, on the rower. He was doing stuff. Still hasn't happened. Yeah. But that, so technically it wasn't true.
Right.
But we still think it could be.
Still come to fruition.
Just might be the wrong timing.
Right.
Anyway, lots of really fun stuff that we talked about with Erica. Always a pleasure. I love it. It's become my favorite tradition of the year.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how she does in 2025.
Yes, it will.
Our next story is from AdAge. I just need to tell this story. So I was listening to a podcast called Radiolab.
Okay.
And it's kind of a sciencey podcast, but they make it like interesting for people like me.
Okay. So they nerd it up, but like pop culture nerd it up?
Yeah. Like I was listening to an episode that they did recently, and they were taking like common sayings and then testing to see if they were true. Like I don't know, like does a watch pot never boil? That kind of thing. Right?
Okay.
And so it spent the whole, like, not the whole podcast, I spent the first like 10 minutes of the podcast trying to figure out what this has to do with AdAge.
Sure.
Right. And I was like, because it said in the thing, you know, we're going to take AdAge. And then I was like, oh, I'm such a marketing nerd. It's AdAge. So.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, they're adages, not AdAge. Okay. I just thought it was a typo because the second A was an alpha wasn't capitalized. So anyway, that's my little experience with
Well, that
AdAge.
was an unexpected rabbit hole.
Yes. So anyway, AdAge,
Yes.
not to be confused with AdAge,
AdAge.
right, has an article about marketing strategies and how, quote unquote, women-focused brands are now trying to figure out ways to target men, and they list Peloton as one of them. I've never considered Peloton female-focused. Now, I do say from having done this podcast, we see the numbers, a disproportionate number of our listeners are female. First off, I always just chalk that up to the fact that I'm adorable.
I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So like I'm aware that Peloton has more women than men that use it, but I've never really felt like they were targeting women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I didn't think that they were targeting them. I just think that's who they got.
Right.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree with that. I think that maybe it just wasn't as obvious to us. Like, I don't know if the chicken or the egg came first there, because spin classes typically are directed at women.
Right.
So like if you're saying, well, Peloton started off as a spin studio, basically,
Right.
for all intents and purposes. I could see why.
By virtue of definition, if you're going to start peeling people away from their local spin classes and spin classes target women, then by virtue of definition, you're going to get a disproportionate number of women.
Yeah. So I do. I mean, it's crazy, y'all. Like the numbers, like it's 80% women.
Yeah.
It's really skewed toward women. And so I think that it's not quite as skewed for Peloton overall. I think that they have more men in general.
Yeah.
But I think that when it is a man, especially an early adopter, they are all in.
Yeah.
Like they love it. just like the women do.
Yeah. And I also think that men, for whatever reason, they're more likely to use Peloton, and then that's the end of it for them, right? Like they're not gonna go down the rabbit hole of reading the articles and following the instructors on Instagram.
The men?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unless the instructor's a thirst trap.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I think that's true. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. If the numbers of people who are interested in being tipsters and writing articles would bear out, that would also say there's a lot more women than men that are interested, which makes sense. Like, I get it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, this article is paywalled.
Oh,
so
that's sad.
We couldn't really read it to figure out what their strategies are going to be.
Okay.
I guess lower cut tops.
I think it's more about like for Peloton, I think they're going to be showing that like it does like the strength. They're doubling down on strength.
I'm being silly. Like,
Okay.
I don't really think Peloton's going to go that route.
I didn't think you really thought that. I was just saying, I do think we can kind of guess where some of these strategies are. And I think strength is one of them. Running is one of them. More seriousness. Let me just say, it's always been serious, but like more perception of seriousness about being an authority on these things,
Right.
The fitness. And I don't know what the rest of the brands are doing, but I also think Tonal is doing that too, by the way.
Yeah.
I think they really struggle to get the average, the man who already lifts to be interested in Tonal.
I think Tonal's problems are, one, people, like you said, people who already lift think it's a cable machine and they don't take it seriously. They think they can't get a real workout on it. And then they have the opposite problem of Peloton, I think, of like they need more women because a lot of women are scared to lift weights because they think that they will, quote unquote, bulk up.
Yes.
And so like I definitely, they have the other end of the problem. But anyways, it was an interesting idea of what they're doing, even though we couldn't fully read it. So we have an article this week, and it's about some of the best ways to get deals on Peloton merch or accessories. A lot of it you can find at the closeout stores like a TJ Maxx or a Marshall's. But we've also had some warnings about that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And not something we all need to freak out about.
Yeah.
It's just something you need to be aware of.
It's just something you should panic over.
and that is that, like, when you're buying stuff, these items could have been sitting for a while and we don't know where they've been stored. So you don't know if they've been stored in
really
extreme
hot.
heat or extreme cold.
Right.
Yeah. Well, why does that matter? It only matters if you're looking at something like, I don't know, the resistance bands.
Right.
And then whenever you buy them and they snap the first time you use them. That's when it matters.
That's problematic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't feel like anybody should blame Peloton for that.
Yeah.
I just want to be the first to go on record and say that.
Well, other than
Okay.
if they're not storing them in climates that are conducive to their longevity, then they probably shouldn't be unloading them. Like, now, maybe they're not aware of that.
But you don't know who was storing.
Also true.
I don't know
Yeah.
how long one of these stores stored
Yeah,
them.
because so the way these closeout stores work, because I went down a rabbit hole on
Ooh.
that, and is that
Tell us everything.
so the way a TJ Maxx or Marshalls, something like that works is they're basically buying the leftover stock. And so that's, TJ, I don't know if this is still their slogan, but for years, TJ Maxx slogan was always never the same store twice, right? Because they don't have like certain products that they're guaranteeing are going to be in stock. They just buy whatever's left.
Right.
So they wait until a store says, we have too many of these jeans or we have too many of these vases. Like, we've sold as many as we're going to sell. We've moved on to the next product. And so it's either a landfill or you buy them for pennies on the dollar. And then TJ Maxx will come in or Marshalls or what have you will come in and be like, oh yeah, we'll take all that. And then they buy it for next to nothing, which is why you see such steep discounts there. But it's also why you can't always guarantee what you're going to find there, which is also part of the appeal of the stores. It's kind of like a Goodwill or a garage sale. Like, you never know what you're going to get.
You're bargain hunting.
Right.
You're literally hunting for good stuff.
You're not going in with something specific in mind.
Right.
And so because of that, sometimes that stuff might sit in a warehouse for a long time. Perhaps it even changes hands between retailers before it ends up at a TJ Maxx. Sometimes they'll buy stuff and they'll call it like a pack away. Like, they'll buy it and they'll be like, oh, that'd be a good summer item, but it's August. So we're going to sit on it for X amount of time until it's seasonal again.
Right.
So like sometimes that stuff could be 2 years old, 3 years old.
Well, and I would say there's also that each of those companies have their own distribution chain. And so I don't know what that looks like for either of these, but it's just a question mark.
Yeah.
So I just say that to say, I don't know how long TJ Maxx had it. I don't know how long Peloton stored it. And
Right.
I don't know how long it took to get there.
Or how that specific TJ Maxx stored it.
Exactly. But it's just a good reminder to when you're looking for good deals. That's totally fine. Like, I love good deals too. But just pay attention to that and like don't like rely on it to the point that like that is the only thing you're looking for.
If you're buying a barbell, you're going to be fine. Right.
Exactly.
Or not a barbell, but like a dumbbell.
Yeah.
But yeah, something like a resistance band that has elasticity, like, maybe give that a little bit of side eye. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the image we're showing is of a resistance band that snapped on somebody that could have been
bad,
really bad.
But it wasn't. Thank goodness.
Thankfully.
Yes.
So it looks like there will be no studio classes on February 1st and 2nd.
Well, I want to say that a little caveat to that. The studio booking site does not show any availability to book classes. So that does not mean there will not be classes at all. Mm-hmm. Could mean that.
Right.
But it does not definitively.
There could be like a private event.
Exactly.
Of some sort.
These could be those Chase Platinum things.
This is when they're bringing in Paul McCartney for the special in-studio appearance.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And it also could be another Lululemon event weekend. We haven't had one of those in a little while.
No, that makes sense.
So not sure exactly what it is, but it's more of just like, you can't book classes on those days. We don't know exactly what it means just yet, but be aware and we will keep you updated as we learn more.
We also have more store closures.
We do. Now, I have heard that there will be 7 in this round total.
Okay.
But for now, the 4 that we know of are Santa Monica, and then in Colorado, it was the Lone Tree store, and then In Massachusetts, it was the Dedham store. And then in Michigan, it was the Troy store.
Okay.
Like I said, there's 3 more coming. And I believe they're closing by the 15th of this month. So it'll probably be in our next round of class, like the next time we have a recording.
An update. Yeah.
It might be the week after, depending on when they update it. So yeah, 7 total. Also, it seems to me the chatter that I'm hearing, this is completely just rumor at this point. I have no confirmation that they very much are planning to get rid of all stores, except for the one like in the studios with the studio.
So not even like stores in like major cities like Chicago or LA.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
I mean, that's what I've heard. Again, that is a rumor.
Right.
That is not confirmed.
Like, obviously the plan is to shed stores, but I would have thought they'd have at least kept them in like the really big cities.
I would too. Yeah. And it would not, like, even though I've heard that rumor, it would not shock me if that were like, it's kind of like split down the middle. They're going to get rid of all except for those.
They'll
like,
keep LA, Chicago.
Exactly.
Boston.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And we had a pop-up that popped down, popped back up.
We did.
It's like, do they have whack-a-mole in Australia?
I don't know.
Oh. But they
got all kinds of weird creatures in Australia.
That is true. Whack a koala.
No. Koalas are so cute. Don't whack the koala.
Whack a kangaroo.
Don't whack the kangaroos. Besides, they could punch you out.
Why are you okay with whacking a mole?
Well, it's just a whole word when you say it real fast. It's just one word. But when
whack a koala.
No.
Oh, I thought if I said it faster.
But I can still picture the koala separately. When you say whack-a-mole, I just picture a silly cartoon. But when you say whack a koala, I see a real koala.
You see a cute cartoon.
And no, it's not even a cartoon. It's a real one. And it needs to stop. Like, no, not okay.
Whack a Tasmanian devil.
All right.
How about that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Whack a Paul Hogan.
No. He's an Australian delight. This is a knife.
Whack another shrimp on the Barbie. Anyway, Bondi Junction.
Yes, that's right. Bondi Junction is back.
Yes.
So we'll see how long that one stays up this time.
Well, it's a pop-up, so it's not designed to stay around forever.
No, it's not. Yeah. And I'm curious if they keep bringing it back. Like if it's seasonal, if there's like this is the beginning of the year. So maybe they do it for until February and then it goes down and then it comes back up at like, I don't know, whatever a major holiday is.
Right before Black Friday if they have that there.
Right. Yeah. Or even like, I don't know. I'm thinking like Mother's Day here. Right. You know, I have no idea.
Mom's Day.
I don't know if they celebrate.
They call it Mom's Day.
A separate holiday for that there. I don't know.
Mama's Day. Is that what they say in?
I don't think it is.
In the Australia?
I don't.
Okay.
No. I think you're just horribly offensive. Pretty sure. I mean, people are used to it. It's okay.
I would think so.
Yeah.
It's my brand.
Yeah.
So also we should report that some members, not all, but some members are having issues getting Netflix to work on their entertainment tab.
Yeah, but it seems like it's mostly tread people, which is fascinating. And it's very intermittent.
Yeah.
It's coming in, it's coming out. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people it's on the tread, some people it's on the tread plus. It's very strange, but officially nothing's been put up on the list. I mean, they're still having all their little issues with the buffering, and it's not just German members.
You were just buffering too.
I know, I was.
It's contagious.
And it's not just the German members now. It has escalated into all of the members.
Another global pandemic.
It's spreading.
We'll all be buffering.
But the Netflix thing, nothing official as of yet.
But if you're having issues, you're not alone.
You're not alone and you're not crazy. And there's really nothing you can do to fix it. I mean, nothing. I'm not saying there's no way to fix it. What I'm saying
you
is
can do.
Specifically, there's not like take these steps and it will be fine. There's nothing like that listed out.
Coming up after this, we got instructors in the news. We're going to tell you about Emma Lovewell getting candy and cash in the mail, and also when Salena Samuela will be back. So stick around.
Instructors in the news.
We know when Salena Samuela will be back.
Yes, February.
Kind of.
Well, yeah. The week of February 17th is when she's going to be back. And she says she'll be there for a week.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting because so she was this was like one of those Ask Me Anything on Instagram. I buffered again. I even drank this caffeine to help. But
well, you didn't drink it far enough in advance.
Yeah, should have started an hour ago. Plus, now I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Man, the Patreon episode's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
You're going to be all jacked up on caffeine.
It's going to be lit.
I had an energy drink right before we started recording. We all know those kick in about halfway through.
Yeah. Get squirrely right about now. So, yeah, it's interesting because she was doing an Ask Me Anything on Instagram, and somebody asked her when she would be there, but it's interesting that she said for a week because part of the other answer was somebody asked if she had relocated to New Mexico because she's been spending a lot of time out there, but she said no, but as her schedule has changed, she's been spending more time there.
That makes sense.
It does. But a lot of people can't help but compare that to Callie spending a week at a time recording, going in and spending a week recording and then not being there. I don't know. It's also been said that, you know, somebody asked if there were going to be more 45-minute boot camps, and she said she didn't have the answer to that. So all of that to say, you know, the downside of all of our instructors being on these weird 12-week at a time vacations or whatever we're calling them.
Right.
Is that it doesn't seem like all the instructors get the same amount of weeks off. And you can't help but wonder if there's some kind of like, you get this much attention on Instagram versus this other person that gets this much attention versus this many people take your classes, that kind of thing. So why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that to support your instructors. Like if there are people like Salena that mean a lot to you, make sure you're taking their classes even when they're gone, because that is the best way to show support of these instructors. And you'll be sad if they are gone. So just helping you out.
Yes. So Emma Lovewell got an interesting package in the mail.
I just feel like this is so weird.
Candy and cash.
So I didn't know who this guy was.
Because you're not under 30. No offense, but I guess it would be weird if you were my wife and under 30.
Why do you know? You're not under 30.
Because I'm in concert marketing and I need to know these things.
Well, okay, but even if you don't think that like it's weird that some random person sent her candy, like why is anyone sending an instructor cash? Like out of all the people in the world that need cash, an instructor at Peloton is not that person.
And
it's just gross.
Yeah. So Mr. Beast, for people who are unaware,
like me,
has the most subscribers on YouTube, like 340 million. And his whole thing is giving away money and
to people who need it.
Look at me philanthropy.
Yeah.
Like it's,
that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
And look, it worked.
This wouldn't be philanthropy. This would just be naked promotion.
But she posted his stuff on Instagram. That's just exactly why he did it.
That's what he does. And it works.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of charity porn. And I'm not a fan, but people love it. And people just think, look at all the good things he did. And it's like, okay, but he also made sure that he got like 40 million views and he's monetized it. And I'm like, I don't know that really counts as charity. But I guess if you're struggling and you get the money, you're happy to get it. There's a lot to disentangle. And I'm not trying to completely shit on the guy, but just something about the whole thing, it just squicks me out.
The only part that I knew about that grossed me out is just a Peloton instructor does not need money.
Right.
And if you're sending it to them, that's for attention. Full stop. Like there's no other reason for you to do that.
Now, and he has a lot of other business ventures. He has his own burger chain, quote unquote, which is basically just a series of ghost kitchens.
What does that even mean?
A ghost kitchen?
Yeah.
A ghost kitchen is something that doesn't exist in the real world. You can't actually walk in and buy food from it. You can't sit down at a table. It's not an actual restaurant, but it's on Grubhub. It's on Instacart, and they operate out of the restaurants of other kitchens. And so a lot of restaurants now they actually make a lot of money also operating as ghost kitchens. And so they might be a pizza joint, but then they also have this other section in their kitchen where they'll make Chinese food. And then you see it on Instacart and it'd be like, you're just searching for Chinese food and be like, oh yeah. And you're never going to go to the place. It doesn't have a physical existence. You just see, Crystal's Chinese Delights, and you order your crab rangoon and they bring it to your door, and this other restaurant makes it.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of his burger chains are most of his burger stuff, I think they're finally open like a real one, but they're all ghost kitchens. But he also has a line of candy bars, which is what this is. And there was some controversy around him a while back because somebody posted a picture of the display in on a Walmart or something, and it just looked kind of ratty. And then he went on Twitter or whatever, and was like, hey, if you like Mr. Beast, like you should, if you see it in the store not looking good, you should freshen it up. And then I think he implied that maybe even like give it better placement over like Hershey. And it's like, which first off, if you're unaware, a lot of shelf space in stores is paid for. And also going to a store and arranging the display of food, that's an actual job. Right. It's called a vendor stalker.
Yeah.
And so basically,
that's why I'm so offended right now.
He took his fan base and turned them into unpaid labor while people rave about what a great guy this guy is.
This reminds me of when we first started doing this podcast. We had, I won't say who, but we had a company reach out to us and they were like, sell all of our stuff for us. It wasn't getting paid for it in any way, shape, or form, which was fine because we weren't even monetizing back then.
Yeah.
But like they wanted me to spend my time selling their stuff.
Right.
And then had a report on all the people selling for them that they then put on a public email so everyone could see. I was like, nothing about this is my kind of thing. Like, this is gross and I don't like it. And you're not paying me and I don't work for you. So get away from me.
So hard pass.
Yeah. But, that's what it reminds me of, though. I think there's a lot of people doing that these days. I think that's just like a new thing. Like, I don't even think it's offensive to people.
Well, and excuse me, editors, if you could take out that. Well, and people have talked about the Mr. Beastification of YouTube because so many other channels now are aping this programming model. He also does lots of challenges. Like if you remember, somebody a while back did like the real Squid Games. That was him. And he has so many views that he gets these giant corporate sponsors that pony up the cash for the prizes. And then it's a well-run machine. He really figured out the algorithm and he is profiting handsomely. And I don't begrudge him that end of things, but I don't always think that he's as altruistic as some people, like to make them out to be. But so I don't know if this is like a contest where there's,
I have no idea,
because I know when he launched the candy bar, it was very similar to like a Willy Wonka golden ticket kind of a thing. So I don't know.
Where did you go?
Like it was, I don't think he went to, but it was some sort of contesting thing. But the fact that I don't know.
There's just something about the fact that I don't know, like there's
sending money to people who are already doing really well. Like it just, to me, it just like, I feel like he just kind of gamed your IG and for not much money.
Yeah.
For some candy bars and $100 in cash.
Yeah, it's just not. I just don't like the optics of it. But I mean, whatever. To each your own.
To each their own. But it's out there.
It is out there. Yeah. Sorry, we went down quite the rabbit hole. I had no idea all that was hiding there. I just thought it was a little icky.
Yeah. Tunde was a speaker at CES.
Yeah, she was. And it had a name that I can't remember right now, but it was like health. It was health tech. That's what it specifically was. So she was at CES and she was on a panel that I believe was sponsored by Abbott Global. And Abbott is the one that does all the marathons, like Abbott marathons, all the majors. Well, they did this panel and she was part of the panel. And it was talking about how health technology leads to a healthier life and like it's all cohesive. And so she was in Vegas at CES. I've always wanted to go to CES. I think that'd be so fun. Yeah. See all the new tech.
We've never been to Vegas.
Oh my God, we haven't. All the places we've been, we've never been together.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it is we don't really like to gamble.
No, it's definitely, and I have bad memories from Vegas. Nothing like I didn't wake up married to somebody else or anything. It's just like the one time I went, both times that I went to Vegas, I was working and I had to work for a trade show. So one of these giant trade show things, but I was working. So I was the person like huffing it back and forth, carrying stuff. And then I was like setting up the booth and I had to man the booth. And then we had to do all these parties every night, which I know sounds fun.
Yeah.
But one of the times I was there, I was pregnant. And then the other time I was there, I was nursing.
Yeah.
Neither of which makes a great Vegas experience.
Especially because you were there for the Adult Video Awards, right? Isn't that what you were there for?
No, not at all. It was also a health conference, but not CES. It was just a health conference.
Doesn't CES take place at the same time as the Adult Video Awards?
I have no idea.
I think it does.
Why do you know that?
Because it's purposeful. I read an article about it. Like there was so much crossover between technology and porn that they were like, we should piggyback that.
That makes a certain weird sense, actually. Yeah. But no, I wasn't there for that, Tom. And
just for the record, I knew a lot about Mr. Beast, but I don't subscribe to his YouTube channel either. Just for the record.
Well, so yeah. And both times ended up being really sad. And so I just don't like Vegas.
Yeah.
It's just drunk people and lots of gambling and a lot of smoke. And I hate smoke.
I don't know if it's still like that.
I don't either.
Almost nowhere allows you to smoke anymore.
Because Sydney is 18, which means this was almost 20 years ago.
You're very, very old. No, that's true.
Jesus, I am old. Oh my God.
It ain't going to get any better.
But 20 years since I've been I was an adult working 20 years ago. Oh, that's sad. My God. So old.
While we're speaking of Tunde, if you'll recall, we were speaking of Tunde.
Sorry.
She was,
Guess that caffeine kicked in.
How dare you go down a rabbit hole? That's my job.
That definitely is your job.
You'll be telling dick jokes. Tunde was on Hell's Kitchen this week.
She was, yeah. And that's all I know about it.
Yeah. but she's out there. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah. And she was listed as a Peloton and American Heart Association guest. I thought that was interesting.
Yes, very.
I don't know exactly why both were listed.
Like what that signifies.
Yeah, thought it was just interesting. Yeah,
absolutely. Chelsea Jackson Roberts was on ABC News Live.
She was, and she was talking about the benefits of meditation, and she was also talking about how making it a practice is so important that doing it once is not really. I'm really bad about fits and starts with meditation.
Yeah,
it's always something I intend to do, and then I stop doing it. But I
like me.
Never do it.
I just don't intend to do it.
You just don't. Okay. Yeah. I really like the effects of it. I like the way I feel when I meditate. It's just some days I wake up and I don't feel like it, which is ironic because those are the days you need it the most.
I am naturally Zen. I think we all know that.
Surprisingly, unless you are attacked by some kind of inanimate object that won't do exactly what you want the second that you want it, you are very Zen. But when it comes to those inanimate objects,
well, they need to learn. DJ John Michael had an interesting post on the gram this week, just a video taking you behind the scenes on one of the recent Jess King Experience rides.
Yeah, this was the New Year's Eve ride.
Okay.
Specifically.
That would explain the glitter.
Yeah. Yeah. And the lighting setup. But I just thought it was neat because they actually kind of had pictures where, when you see cartoons or animation and they have a cell and then first they draw it and then they color it and they overlay it and show you how it's all going to go.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a high-tech version of that because it's here's where all the lights are going to be and here's how we're going to do it during this song and this is what we're going to do. And I just never really thought about the level.
How much goes into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a show at this point.
Exactly. Especially these, the big events, not just a quote unquote regular class.
If you go back to the early episodes.
That's exactly what you said would happen.
Yes.
I remember. I was there. Don't you worry.
I said from the jump, I'm like, this is going to be TV. And you just wait and see.
And here it is.
And coming up after this, we're going to tell you about the latest artist series and some big news from Tonal and the latest celebrity spotted in the world of Peloton. So stick around.
Peloton artist collaborations.
The latest artist series features Lil Wayne.
Yes, it does.
I always feel so dumb saying that.
I understand.
If his name was just Little Wayne, I would probably just end up saying Lil Wayne because I would say it real fast.
But the fact that it's listed out that way, we always struggle with this. But
salt and pepper.
I have to point out that there has already been a Lil Wayne artist series.
Okay, so I thought that
it was back before COVID, or maybe it was during COVID, but it was in the early 2020, 2022, somewhere in that range. So it's been a while, and it's not a bad thing they're doing another one. I just wanted to point it out because lots of people are like, what, didn't we do one of these? Yes. Yes, we did.
Other connected fitness.
Big news in the world of Tonal.
Yeah. Tonal 2.0 dropped today.
They got a new machine.
Oh, it's so pretty.
First off, for those of you who have a Tonal or maybe have one on the way, don't worry.
Yours is still great.
Yours still functions perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
And will continue to do so. So don't freak out.
No.
Yes.
No bad.
But the new machine, because all the weight, you don't have to touch it and then you get muscles. So
wouldn't that be cool? No, but the max weight on a Tonal 1.0 is 200 pounds.
Right.
2.0 is 250.
Is 250.
That's right.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. And they've got some new on 1.0, they have this thing called, it's form check basically.
Yeah.
But you use your phone to be
Smart View.
Smart View, that's right. And you use your phone to set up the Smart View so it can see you, and then it kind of sees how your form is and does a form check.
And then yells at you if you do it wrong.
Right. Well, 2.0 has that built in, so your phone is no longer needed.
I'm just curious how that's going to work, because you set the phone up to the side, right? So but
that's because the camera in the 1.0 was never turned on. That's why.
Okay.
That's why. And well, they turned it on, but it never worked the way that they wanted it to work. Just full disclosure, didn't work the way they wanted it to. But now on the 2.0, not only do they have that camera where it can see you, and it does like a 120 degree view.
Okay.
So it's like real wide view.
Yeah.
And it plays back like, oh, you were shrugging your shoulders too much on this, like relax. And so that I think that'll be a very big deal for tonal. Also, it has a new mode that is kind of like mixing more cardio with strength. And they kind of changed up the way you use the rope. The rope.
Yeah.
You put it on both ends.
It has like a double T-lock, so it attaches to both arms, so you can get full weight.
Yes.
And it looks like they were doing moves that kind of emulate like a CrossFit.
I don't know.
It reminded me of like the ropes and stuff that you do.
Like
the movements.
The ropes like that?
Well, I mean, you go your hands opposite. With this one, you use both hands at this, in sync. But like, it just felt like movements that you make more in a CrossFit thing. But I know nothing about CrossFit.
I just thought it was interesting because you use that move to do things like lunges. Like you're pulling down on the ropes while you're doing lunges. And I just like think about how that would really hit your core on every level, because you've got to stabilize it while you're moving. You're pulling that weight down. That sounds very intriguing to me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And then there was there's a couple of other things, but either way, it's the same price as the Tonal 1.0.
Oh wow,
$42.85 for brand new Tonal.
Yeah.
Whew.
And if you have a Tonal and you're interested, it sounds like they're going to have some sort of a trade-in program.
Yeah, it's not out yet. So like if you go looking for it and you're like, why can't I find it? It doesn't exist
not
yet.
There, but we've seen reports from Tonal people.
Yes. They like flat out are saying it on LinkedIn, and other commenting Tonal is saying it, that, and as opposed to like, this isn't just a random person,
right.
Like Tonal's actually saying
yes.
it, that there will be a path to upgrade your current machine if that's what you want to do. So yeah, like if we end up not upgrading, we keep ours, I'm going to be fine, because
right.
we have a great system. I love our Tonal. And if we do get to upgrade, that's awesome too. I just don't want people, like you said at the beginning, to think that like, oh, I have this Tonal and now it's like just a paperweight. It's not.
No.
Like it's still fully functional. You're still going to get all the things out of it. It's fine.
Absolutely.
Peloton celebrity sightings.
We have another celebrity using Peloton that we were previously unaware of. Joanna Teplin from Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
I don't know. It's just Extreme Makeover as far as I know. But she was also a host on a different show called something Home Edit. Like it was like Organization Home Edit or something like that.
Gotcha.
She was one of the hosts on there too, because I recognize her.
Yeah.
And but yeah, she was
Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's on Hulu. That's where you can find it, by the way. She was recently in Allie's Feel Good ride. And then Allie talked to her pre-show, and then Joanna said that she was nervous about being on the bike. But Allie also mentioned her at the end, and Allie did a live at the end, and she had brought Joanna to see their locker rooms and how they are organized. And then they both went out to brunch together. Well, so it's clearly a little collab,
yeah, which
is fine. That's awesome.
I wonder if that means we'll see Allie on a upcoming episode.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Like somebody's makeover gets a fitness room or something.
That would be so fascinating, because like you see these people's houses, like you see everything when you watch one of these shows, like their whole closet, like whatever area is being, you see the whole room. So I would think, I have no idea where Allie falls in this, but I would think some Peloton instructors would be like, that is too much for me. I don't want to be that, because these people come in and see them. It's not like a Hollywood actor that never sees people out in the real world. They're constantly have an entourage. I don't know. I would feel very uncomfortable.
Well,
with
I didn't mean that they would make over Allie Love's house, but like
why else would she be on the show then? That's like the whole point of the show.
They'd make over someone else's house and they like get a fitness room and Allie Love comes in like that.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. I don't even watch one of these things.
Well, usually they go to a rich person's house. It's usually somebody famous, and then they redo it.
I didn't know that.
But that was for the home edit organization thing that I'm talking about. And so for the extreme makeover, it is just somebody like getting a complete makeover on their house.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a rich person at all. And so I was completely forgetting that aspect of it.
I haven't watched one of these things since like Trading Places. Was that a thing?
Oh, that's been a while.
Yeah, because
Trading Spaces.
Because they're just not my thing.
Yeah, I like them. But the extreme extreme makeover it can be about like a whole home though. So it could be like somebody buys a home in a neighborhood that's like a nice home, but maybe the house is a little run down, but the neighborhood's really nice. And then they like spiffy it up and they make it gorgeous, and they do it in like 2 days or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. And it's usually like some very well-deserving family who's like had this horrible thing happen to them, and so everybody's crying by the end, including me watching it.
Kid was born with his heart on the outside.
Exactly.
And they gotta give him a special room.
Exactly.
Where hearts can be safe.
And it's so touching and heartwarming to watch.
Well, be careful. His heart was born on the outside.
Oh, Jesus.
You don't want to warm it too much.
Tom.
What?
Stop.
I picked a disease that's not real, so nobody could get mad at me.
They still can. I assure you.
New content.
Okay, it is time for the TCO Top 5. First item up for bid, your favorite stretch.
This stretch was taught by Maddie Majacomo on New Year's Day, a 20-minute New Year's Day full body stretch. Actually, it was posted on December 30th at 11 p.m. But Stephanie Adams, she loved this. She said it was so good. Maddie says things that really resonated with me. He breaks down big ideas into very doable pieces. He's just the best. He is.
He's very nice.
Yes.
Number 2, your favorite ride.
Okay, so Christina Ribeiro, little powerhouse.
Heard of her.
She nominated the 45-minute 80s ride that was taught by Jen Sherman on January 5th. And Sherry Rosenberg also nominated it. They both love the playlist. And Christina added she generally refrains from recommending one of Jen Sherman's classes because they're all her faves. But she wants everyone to take this ride. It was the first Sunday ride for Jen in 2025, and it was incredible. And it had Billy Joel, Poison, Pat Benatar, and the Police.
Nice. Number 3, your favorite Power Zone ride.
Dennis Martin takes the cake on this one. 45-minute Power Zone rock ride, and it aired on December 17th. Tom Gilday nominated this ride. He said it was the perfect blend of zones 3 and 4 with great music to carry you through the class, including AC/DC, The Doors, The Beatles, Lenny Kravitz, Hozier, and Fish.
Number 4, your favorite top 10 music class.
Taught by Cody Rigsby, it was the 30-minute top 50 music ride 10 through 1. And Lindsay Millen nominated this ride. She said she loved it. It was so good. And she said that Cody included his usual themes, encouraging everyone to be the best versions of themselves and giving a little bit of snark about some of our choices from the previous year.
And number 5, your favorite welcome back ride.
That's right. We skipped the Unstackable this week, and we wanted to celebrate the fact that Emma Lovewell was back on the bike this week. She's back in the studio, and her class from January 2nd was a 30-minute 90s ride, and it was nominated by Anastasia Mascarella, and she said that the ride was a blast. She brought awesome tunes and an awesome ride. The class was live at 8 a.m., and over 80,000 people have already taken this ride. Emma picked music by Daft Punk, the Backstreet Boys, the Beastie Boys, and Foo Fighters, which is an Emma favorite.
And now we will take a look at this week at Peloton. Coming up, we have 10-minute workouts.
Yes. So the idea of these classes are to make it move quickly, right? So you can get in, get out of your class very quick, and you can add them into everything. So whether that's strength add-on, cardio, or anything like that, make it super easy. And
if you're looking for something longer, they have that too.
Well, yeah, they do. That's the whole point of the extra 10 classes.
I was trying to segue into the next thing. Well, it didn't
because the next one was foam rolling, which is also short. But foam rolling is...
No, you will foam roll for 90 minutes.
That would be rough.
A Power Zone foam roll.
But Rebecca Kennedy is going to be dropping a new class, also 10 minutes. And it launches this week, January 9th. There are some longer sessions. We have some hip hop with Alex this week, and that dropped on January 6th. And then there was was a hike with Emma, a 30-minute hike that dropped as well.
We have a meditation program for people, a new one.
We do 7 days for meditating. So it's like to start your meditation, and it's giving you 7 days in a row of 10-minute meditations. And this is a brand new program that just dropped, so you can go find it under programs. I also have to tell you that by the time people hear this, there will already be an article out where one of our writers, Elizabeth, went out and actually did a test drive of this and then did an entire review, very in-depth review. I read it earlier today. It's really good. So look forward to that as well.
Germany is getting a live FTP warm up and ride.
It's just fascinating that anyone is getting a live FTP warm up and ride. I don't think that that's ever happened before. And I'm a little curious if it's on purpose, if it's a mess up, what's going to happen.
Typo.
Yeah, I'm a little curious about this, like what's actually happening. But anyway, it's listed on the schedule, so we will see.
We have a new scenic run.
We do. Yeah. The New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile. It's 2 scenic classes that are in collaboration with the New York Roadrunners. And because it's a scenic class, you can only get it if you have a Tread or a Tread Plus. And it's on the Experiences tab in the Scenic Library.
It's all the joy of running on the road with none of the cars.
Yeah. Boy, those grandstands of people cheering are a lot less than during the New York City Marathon during the day. That's crazy.
And finally, for content, we have reason to believe Susie Chan has a 90-minute run in the not too distant future.
Yeah, February 2nd. And she mentioned it during a class recently that she was going to be doing it. So 90-minute live class coming up.
Such a big deal. They shut down the studios for it.
Does make you wonder what's going on that day.
Yeah.
In case you missed it.
We had a really neat article over on the website this week. This is really handy for maybe newer members, but tips for how to pick a leaderboard name.
Yeah. And I have to say that Elizabeth, who wrote this, has really been on a roll lately. And she has a great leaderboard name, Minute to Spin It.
Okay. Yeah, that's going.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
Well, she goes through and gives you all the breakdown, why it's important to have a leaderboard name, like why it's so important to keep it short and memorable, and just all the things that you want to go into it. And then she gives you examples too of like great leaderboard names and using wordplay and humor. And like she gives a bunch of examples. She breaks it down really, really well. So I realize most of the people listening probably don't need that, but maybe you've been thinking about changing it and you would like to. But also, this is a great article to share with people who are new to Peloton, and it's January, so there's a lot of them.
Yes, there are.
Peloton birthdays.
We only have one birthday this week. It is Hannah Frankson, and she was born on January 11th.
Happy birthday to Hannah Frankson.
Happy birthday. Coming up after this, we have our interview with Rob and Nicole Cesternino, so stick around.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Rob and Nicole Cesternino. Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Crystal.
Hello. So nice to have you both here. I really like to always start these conversations by kind of understanding how Peloton came into your lives. So I'm really curious to hear this from you two.
Well,
we don't normally get an awkward pause there.
I feel like
I wasn't sure if Rob was going to jump in on that one.
Yeah, I'll let Nicole feel this, but I had never heard about really Peloton until they had that commercial that really but got on people's radar.
Yeah.
And then it was really Nicole that first brought Peloton into the family.
Yeah, I was going to Orange Theory. And I discovered this kind of this love-hate relationship with the treadmill. And I started noticing results and I was like, okay, this is terrible, but I love it at the same time. And then COVID hit and couldn't go to Orange Theory anymore. And we had this treadmill in our garage that we never used. So I started to do my own sort of Orange Theory workouts, but I'm not my own best coach.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite work. And then someone told me, you should try Peloton. And I was like, but I don't have a Peloton. And I thought it was just for like rich people. And she's like, no, there's an app. It's like at the time, it was like $12 a month. You should try it.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So, yeah. So then I tried it and it was amazing. And I got completely hooked and it got me through the pandemic.
Okay.
And so you were using it more for running than for the bike?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's interesting because typically people, their funnel seems to be the bike. So when someone comes in through the tread, we've still yet to find anyone that's coming through the guide.
Yeah. Or the rower. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know if the guide is really going to bring people in. I would like to try the rower though.
It's pretty nice, I gotta say. I do love the rower. It's very smooth.
Everything about Peloton's equipment is just smooth. Like you can go on a regular treadmill and then you go on the Peloton tread and you're like, wow, I am running on a cloud. This is amazing.
Yes, that is so true. Well, so do you have their treadmill now, like a Peloton treadmill now?
Eventually, I did get the treadmill. I mean, I think that's what the app does. It suckers you into eventually buying the equipment.
Yes, that's the plan. That's what they're over there doing.
And then I recently got the bike.
Oh,
we had this bike from Costco that we were using. This is like we moved from Los Angeles to North Carolina. And we sold the treadmill and I didn't really have anything. Like the apartment we were staying in at the time, excuse me, had a treadmill. It wasn't an Orange Theory treadmill. I didn't know what the Peloton treadmill felt like at the time. I was like, okay, this is fine. And then once we moved into our house, we got the treadmill.
Got the good stuff.
Recently, don't tell Peloton, but I got a Peloton bike off of Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, they encourage that.
Yeah,
now. They encourage it.
It was for $200.
Wow.
Whoa.
What generation did you get?
I didn't ask a lot of questions. I just said I'll take it.
They fall off a truck?
Does it
maybe?
Does the
I think
screen
the guy
turn?
would, he got it and he thought he was going to use it a lot, and I think he was just like, I got to get rid of this thing.
Yeah. It became a paperweight for him.
Yeah. So Nicole sent me on a Sunday night to go, and
You got to go
I
quick.
got to work out moving the Peloton bike.
How did that workout go?
It was rough. It was rough. I had to
two
go
of
up a
us
flight of
floated up the
stairs
stairs.
also. Yeah.
We've had to do that before, moving the bike up the
Yes.
stairs. It's very heavy.
It's a lot.
It's a lot heavier than it looks.
It's really heavy.
I
But
feel like
totally worth it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting a window into their life though when it's like so before we started recording their dog came in the room, and so the dog's name is Carmela Soprano, and they bought a $200 Peloton that fell off a truck.
Are we giving away too much?
And I'm starting to be like, we need to be really nice to these people.
They move a lot. There's questions.
Yeah,
here.
they're clearly on the lamb. Like,
You don't want to swim with the fishes.
I don't want to swim at all. Fishes or no fishes.
Okay, so I have to know the bike that you did get though. Does the screen swivel, or is it like in?
No.
Okay. So that's at least not the Bike Plus. We know it's a regular bike. Okay.
Okay, now you're rubbing it in and
No.
making me feel bad.
No.
You
I'm just kidding, I'm
$200?
just kidding.
No, it's more
Like,
the $200 for a Bike
that's rubbing
Plus.
it in.
Like I'm like, how?
And
yeah.
the best part is that it was literally like 4 days before Peloton announced that they were going to charge you to.
I was wondering.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
You got
was
in.
like right before.
You got
I thought
in
you were going
before.
to say that the guy gave us the shoes also, and he was the same shoe size as me.
I didn't get the shoes, so I don't really care about that story.
You would have had to pay 50% of the price of the bike to activate the bike if you had waited.
Not to mention the shoes. Like they got the bike and the shoes for the price of the shoes. So like I mean,
Much.
okay, that's a little exaggeration, but
But
Kind of, not really.
But not much. Yeah.
okay, well that's amazing. So you've got a tread, you've got a bike, and thinking about looking at the rower at some point for Nicole. Rob's
I
not
think
sure
if
about
I
that.
say that out loud, Rob
I'm
might
gonna
pull
have
his heart.
a little bit of a coronary arrest, cardiac arrest. I didn't know we were looking at another piece of equipment.
That's why you got to
Well, I mean, you
use
should
the
always
equipment.
keep your options open.
Right. You got to stay healthy though. So now, Rob, you're not big into the Peloton. Like you'll do it, but you're not like, oh, I love this.
Yeah, I've gone through phases of where I've done the bike more and, have done the treadmill. So that my really, one of my life hacks is I have to watch a lot of television for the podcast. And so that I have it as a rule now. I never want to be watching and not walking. And so I have various different ways in which I have done this. And so like I find that if I'm like watching a show or watching a movie for the podcast, I try to do that on the treadmill.
That's a really good idea.
I would be emaciated if I did that.
You would.
And I have been able to in the past, like one of the nice things that I like on the Peloton treadmill is that they have the entertainment tab. And so I'm able to, watch something on Netflix. And then also Nicole doesn't like this, but I sort of like make a desk out of the Peloton treadmill in that Nicole has like we have a bathtub and
we have a bathtub, everybody.
Well, I mean,
we have a bathtub.
A lot of people have bathtubs. It's not really a flex.
For Nicole's bath, she has like a tray that you can put like an iPad or a candle or a book or whatever.
It sounds very pretty.
And I take that tray off of the bathtub and I put it onto the treadmill so that I could be walking and then put my laptop on that and take notes as I'm watching something on the treadmill.
Okay. I love your ingenuity. I love how you're being so like smart with the things you already
Nicole
own.
did.
But they do have like trays that you can buy just for this purpose.
That fit.
And it's more aesthetically pleasing.
And they're like made for the tread.
Yeah.
Nicole, the holidays just around the corner.
That's true. That's true. Did you know that you can even get them you can get names put on them and personalized?
Engraved? Wow.
Yeah.
But like decals.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So
We have one that says the clip out.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just saying, Rob, it's just something to think about.
And you use promo code TCO at checkout. And
Okay, you did mention your podcast, so tell us about your podcast.
So Rob is a podcast, started back in 2010. And it was a time in which, and I don't know if people have any, this is going to be a little bit of a curveball. So I was on the TV show Survivor, and I played on Survivor over 20 years ago. After that, I went to California and Nicole and I started dating in New York. Nicole came and joined me in California, and I worked in worked for a small production company for a couple of years, which went out of business. And then I was in 2009 out of work, looking to find something to do with myself and sort of a place to get my name out a little bit more. And so I started podcasting about Survivor in 2010. It was season 20 of Survivor. We're now into season 47 of Survivor. Nicole was my co-host because I had nobody else that would talk to me on a podcast.
Not that I had talent. It was just I was the only person.
Well, Nicole has great stories. And so, you'd love to have her on any podcast. And so we started it there, and it was nothing but like a hobby and something that I thought could be like a resume piece. And now has, almost 15 years later turned into, the great work of my life of, thousands and thousands of podcasts and, a great community around Survivor and reality TV on Rob as a podcast. And it's just been, such a fun adventure that I never imagined coming.
Wow.
First off, husband-wife podcasts are the worst. I think everybody knows that. So
Don't ever do it.
Yeah, never do it. So I'm going to ask you the question that if I was in your position would keep me up at night.
Yeah.
And maybe you've already asked yourself this question. What happens if Survivor goes off the air?
That's a good question.
What do you do then?
Survivor is our biggest show, but also, Big Brother and any sort of competition reality.
Okay.
And so we have basically we're the ESPN of reality TV. So Survivor is certainly like our NFL here on, in terms of our sports portfolio. But in addition to that, we also have a number of other podcasts on our network, including podcasts about scripted television also as part of RHAP.
So Big Brother would be like cricket.
No, Big Brother is intense. Big Brother is because Big Brother goes on with the live feeds, people watch that 24/7.
Really? Yeah. Okay. So that people are super into that one then. I mean, I feel like it's
been around for almost as long as
I was going to say.
Fandom is intense for Big Brother.
Okay.
So you don't just do competition. So the thing that I'm sure Crystal is now wondering, do you have a love after lockup podcast.
You
If
know,
not, would you like
we've had
one?
some coverage on it, but we don't have weekly coverage on
We
Love
love that
After
show
Lockup.
so much. It's embarrassing.
It is. It's great.
It's a fun show.
It is a fun show.
Yeah,
it is.
it's from a distance.
Yes.
Like I feel bad and that it's a fun show because like there's some real struggles and drama on that.
Right.
But it's like it's also you can't look away.
You cannot. I'm curious, Nicole, do you watch these shows too? Because I mean, Rob's saying like he watches this screen while he's walking or running or using a screen.
Something, eh?
Using
Well,
some
he's
kind of
doing
exercise.
something.
Not guiding.
Not guiding. We know that. Are you-
I don't watch it as much as he does. I do watch Survivor every week. I wish I could watch more television, but I don't really watch that much.
okay. Okay.
I save it all for him. And then he tells me all about it. So I feel like I really don't even need to watch.
I totally get
This
that.
dynamic
Yeah.
sounds
It
eerily
does sound-
familiar.
So Tom also has a movie podcast, and so he watches movies. So like this
So
week,
you don't have to.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
I do watch movies with him, but like there are a lot of movies I can't go to, and so he will then tell me all about them. So yes,
And it's like you were there.
It is. Yeah.
And you save so much time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's true.
Well, right now it's so I'm in a Film Critics Association locally, and so they're
nice.
sending us all the screener links. And the Film Critics Association, we did our votes for nominating the movies last week, so we have a week to see all the movies that we haven't seen, so we can actually cast our final votes. And so we've been watching like 2 and 3 movies a day for the last 5 days. So it's
That's a lot of
exhausting.
time.
Yeah.
Some of which are 3.5 hours long, guys.
The,
Like,
the
that's-
Brutalist was
Woof.
3.5 hours long.
Like, who does that? The title is not because it's about the subject matter. It's because
It's a warning.
It's a 3.5 hour movie.
It's a warning.
Now,
Yeah.
Tom, will you ever watch on a faster speed?
No.
No.
That's
Oh,
Rob's
Yes.
trick.
That,
Yeah.
I watch a lot, and especially when you're on the treadmill, you're going like
Yeah.
1.5 on the movie. Like that's helps.
I think I could do 1.5 if it came to that, like if I was watching like a reality show, but to watch a movie at that speed, I think would drive me nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know that I could do it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Don't the voices being at that high pitch drive you nuts?
Not after a while.
Okay.
We've done some podcasts where we will watch a bunch of movies on 3X. We started with the Fast and the Furious.
the only
3
way to
Fast,
watch
3
those.
Furious.
Yeah.
And really, when they're going 3X, like you're going into like the stratosphere.
I could see watching some 3X movies at that speed.
Yeah. Tom,
You can have
no.
a seizure
No.
watching that.
You get carpal tunnel syndrome.
They took that a very different way. They don't know you that well.
Sorry.
So Nicole, do you have like favorite instructors that you take often?
I feel like it depends on the season for me. Like, I feel like I loved Olivia. She was so intense and I loved her intensity and her workouts were so hard. And then I realized her workouts are really hard and I don't want to do that anymore. And then I shifted and I did like Robin for a while. I was in Peloton has gotten me through some rough times, and I feel like Robin has gotten me through some of that. Then there was Just Sims. I loved her, but then her workouts were so hard sometimes.
Sensing a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And her Flash 15s, they kill me.
Yeah, they're intense.
Yeah, and then I feel like I did not like Kendall until we couldn't have her anymore.
Okay.
So now that she's gone, I'm like, oh, I want her back.
Okay. All right.
And I never felt that way before.
Interesting.
Well, there's still old ones out there.
There's lots of them
you
out
can
there. Yeah, you've got
go
to.
Yeah,
the
I like to do
catalog.
her shadow boxing classes.
Okay. Yeah,
She's
and
definitely the best shadow boxing instructor on the platform. And now that she's not there, like they have a problem.
I know they're not doing as many shadow boxing classes.
No, and that really, really stinks because I've been boxing since I don't even know when. It's been like 15 years.
Oh wow.
And I really like her boxing workouts, and they really need to do something about this, or else they're going to get a very firmly worded letter.
Okay.
That'll learn them.
Yeah. Well, hopefully like Rad's shadow boxing too. I hope so.
I like Salena.
Okay.
Rad didn't give me a shout out on my birthday.
Oh.
I'm a little upset with
He is
him.
dead to us.
Just forget it, Rad.
Yes.
We're out.
It's like 5 years ago.
He will never be mentioned in
I remember
instructor.
that.
He was there for it. I was so mad.
Yeah, Nicole's like, we're gonna do the workout together on my birthday, and I'm gonna get the shout out.
Nope, nothing.
No shout out. Oh, that's
And
sad.
once you get on the list, you never come off.
I back to the beginning, we were talking about the name of the dog and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
don't
worried.
get on the list.
I'm worried for Rad
Rad's
now.
on the list.
Yeah. Like, I see why they
He's
have
gonna get
security.
a horse's head in his bed soon.
So Rob, do you only take classes like the entertainment tab? You know, you're trying to do things.
I will do some classes that I really have used more of the strength training programs, and I feel like that I like when I have 20 minutes, I have 30 minutes, and so like I am a little bit of like when I'm working out, if I'm left to my own devices, sometimes the workout could be like an hour and a half, not because I'm getting so much in, because I'm like, oh, let me wander over and Google something for a little bit in between sets, or like, oh, let me like scroll through YouTube and find a video to watch. Whereas I like with the strength training classes that, if I put it on, it's 20 minutes. I'm not stopping it to go and do something else. So if I'm pressed for time, it's a good way to go.
It keeps you focused on your workout. Okay. That's funny. Tom does the same thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But he does it during strength workouts because he uses tonal for his strength workouts, and he does get distracted in the middle.
I'll get like a work email, and then it's like,
Yeah,
and it's
that's relatable.
some sort of concert emergency.
Yeah.
I book concerts for a living, and then it's like, oh, I have the deal points. I got to do this, and
Yeah, I'll sometimes hear him upstairs, and he's like, I thought he was yelling at the machine, but no, he's just on the phone, and it just, it just happened to be a louder conversation.
Yeah, I'm not yelling
at a
people.
person.
No, he's not yelling at a
No,
person.
I don't typically yell at people.
No, not usually.
I'm
if
more
it's
concerned
yelling,
about when Tom is yelling at the tonal.
well, oh yeah, he gets really mad whenever.
Well, 'cause,
What do you yell about?
it'll critique your moves, and it's wrong. And so
Obviously, yeah.
I get very frustrated at that because it'll like I forget the one move forever. It was like whenever I got to the third of it, it was the seated row.
The seated row.
Whenever I got to the third row, I'd get the bonk.
That would make me mad.
You need to do this different. And I'm just like, I'm doing it the same way. I got to do 12 of these. And the other 11, I've all done them the same way. But it's always the third one that you bonk me. And I'm just like, there is no difference between the third one and the first and second and the fourth through 12th one.
You can hear why this is entertaining when I'm upstairs and I hear those downstairs.
I think that tonal is really rude.
It is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd be mad too.
She
Yes,
gets it.
she's
She
on my
gets it.
side.
She is,
Yes.
definitely.
So I
Don't tell me
will.
what to do, tonal.
Right. You're not the boss.
I think that's what it's supposed to do.
I mean, I'm pretty sure all the instructors are telling us what to do. Just saying.
But Peloton instructors don't bonk you. As much as I love the tonal, I've never seen you bonked by a Peloton instructor. Don't take that to mean boink.
I did get
Very different.
I did get
You've never been on the Peloton Facebook group then.
I did get yelled at by a Peloton instructor once.
That is true.
I did. I was in
What?
class. It was a live class.
Oh, nice.
And I was there, and it was my second class of the day. It was like one of those stacks where they do 20 minutes and then they like take a 10-minute break and then you do another 20 minutes. So it was the second of that stack, and it was with Jess King. I had never taken a class with her live.
Oh, she's spicy.
And she was like, "What are you doing? Don't do that." And I don't even remember what it was. And then I stopped doing it. And she was like, why are you not doing this? And I was like, what is happening? Why are you talking to me in this class? Like, I'm just supposed to be an anonymous person like I am at home.
Was it recorded?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was a long time
I'm
ago,
sure it's
though.
long ago because it was the old studio, wasn't it?
Oh, I think it was over on the 23rd Street.
So it's got to be gone.
Yeah, it was definitely 23rd Street. So it's probably gone. That would have been like 2018 at the latest.
Yeah.
So I was just like, why is she yelling at me?
See, this is why I don't do sports or anything like that.
I know you don't like to do any of that stuff.
So
I wanted to ask Rob if he had a favorite instructor
yeah,
then.
no, go for it.
Yeah, so I feel like my two favorites that I'm a big Jermaine Johnson
Okay.
guy,
JJ.
and then Adrian Williams. Those are my two faves.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
both great. They're both really
He
great.
used to do a lot of the Hannah Fredrickson. Is that her last name?
Frankson.
Frankson. Sorry. He used to like her because she didn't talk. She was just like down to business. She's like, don't be lazy. Pedal. I'm telling you, inspiring. He hates inspiring stories.
I love his reactions to your take on his classes.
Well, I was wondering, I wonder if Nicole wasn't on the podcast, would he have named two male instructors as his favorite? That's what I was
but
trying to
such
start
a good
strife here.
question.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm if this is sexist. I don't watch a lot of like if I'm doing the strength training classes that I tend to have a male instructor.
Okay.
He was doing Leanne. That's her name?
Leanne Hainsby? Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing one of her classes, and I walked in. I was like, "Oh, you think she's pretty?"
Yeah, and this is what I deal with. Also.
Say it.
He was like, "I'm just riding the bike."
He's like, back to Adrian Williams.
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, because she really is pretty."
Yeah.
She is really pretty.
And she's like, I know you watch your movies on 1.5, but you're watching this one on 0.5. And I would just like some insight
And you've
as
been
to
in
what's
here an
going on.
hour.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't like this conversation.
Yeah, I know. See how uncomfortable we're making him. And I kind of love it.
I know.
Not gonna lie.
This is how most of our social interactions go when other people are around.
Okay, so we will shift the topic.
Yes,
I have a
yes.
question for Rob. Do you watch anything that you don't create content for? Like, is there
Oh.
something you carve out for yourself that you're like,
Yeah.
I just enjoy this?
A little bit. But you know, Nicole can attest to this that, and again, this is like, I'm used to like watching content like on the treadmill that often if we are like watching on the couch or watching a show in bed, like I fall asleep pretty easily. Like I work a lot during the day and I'm like, up from like an early time working on all sorts of things. And then when it's like, okay, time to relax, let's sit on the couch. And Nicole loves it. We have a very like soft couch and you really just sink right into it. And it's almost like a challenge for me to stay awake for 10 minutes watching something on the couch.
You should be good at challenges.
And then
I don't understand.
he gets mad because I'll like elbow him to wake up
Yeah.
gently.
Yeah. Nicole will never be like, oh, he's tired. She'll just be like, are you sleeping? No. I'm awake.
She just
I
wants,
wait all day to watch something with him, and then he falls
Watch
asleep.
she wants to spend time with you, Rob.
Mhm.
But he's also like, it's distracting because he'll like his head will fall, and then I'm like, oh my god.
No, it's sad. I need to like chew gum or something like that just to
He has
like,
to stand
or
up.
like stand up and pace and do something.
I feel like Nicole's like me. Like if we don't watch it together, it's like I didn't really watch it.
Yeah, I
And
think
so,
so.
like,
Yeah.
I want you to see it with me too. So when I make some obscure reference to a third season episode of Barney Miller, you know of what I speak.
I will now know.
Pretty much,
because
yeah.
I have
Yeah.
watched it. Yeah,
It unites us as a couple.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I have to watch it the next day again by myself. So like, oh my god, I missed all this.
Google the recap.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like, oh, I didn't know that was the same person.
Yeah.
He has a lot of questions afterwards, and then you gotta answer his questions.
I thought she was with them.
And then sometimes you just like make things up, and he's like, oh.
It's like a little test to see how much he's bluffing. I'm really bad. We'll watch an old sitcom and I'll be like, see that lady playing the judge, she was B. Arthur's daughter on 2 episodes of Golden Girls.
Yes.
That's
yes,
what I
but he does it while they're talking, and I'm like, I can't hear the show because you're talking over. I have no idea what now just happened. I don't know what's going on. We have to back
Rob
up.
likes to talk when he's awake during movies.
Yeah, that helps me stay awake.
That's a secret. There's no making her happy sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel that.
What a miserable woman.
So
Just sit there and be quiet and stay awake.
Don't move.
she's like, sit still, look pretty.
I mean, is that too much to ask for?
We have minds too, you know. So what, if you're comfortable sharing them, what are your respective leaderboard names?
I am Nicole Says Run. Our last name is Cesternino, so it's spelled CES.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Very clever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Rob is looking his up.
Yeah, I'm looking mine up.
Rob, it's just your name.
I think it's just my name. Yeah.
Totally busted him.
I think it's just my name. But I do think for Rob as a podcast that there are some groups and people use the hashtag.
Yeah,
and
there's
so
an
even though
hashtag.
even though I am not super active personally, like a lot of, the podcast has a really great community of people around the world who all love the reality TV shows. And so it's a little bit like a college campus in that, that there are sort of like groups around all these other interests, and Peloton is definitely one of them.
We've done a few classes together. We did a few runs together with the RHAP group, and then a few strength classes together. And that was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that sense of community that Peloton brings. And I see that it happens in so many different areas. There's companies that have challenges, and sometimes there's during the pandemic, it happened a lot where people would raise money for different organizations, and they would all ride together. Axios did that a few times. I can't remember that gentleman's name. That was
I am totally blanking.
Okay, it doesn't matter, but they raised a lot of money and they did a lot of good things. But it's really cool to see people come together on the leaderboard and then get to meet in real life. It's neat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your Friday evening. We're recording this on a Friday, and to join us. We greatly appreciate it. And before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you in all the places, the shows, all the things.
Yes.
Okay, well, you can check out everything reality TV and more over on RHAP. You could search for RHAP wherever you listen to podcasts, or go to robhasawebsite.com.
You can find me on Instagram at Nicole Cesternino is my username. And I do a weekly podcast with Rob on RHAP. If you are a patron, you can hear us banter back and forth.
Oh, awesome.
If there's one thing people who listen to this show love, it's husband-wife banter.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true.
They have a new second favorite couple.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
Like that.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
We do. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, this was such a fun time to get to hang out.
It was. I'm sure it's just how you wanted to spend your Friday evening.
The night is young. I'm awake.
right.
He's just going to fall asleep watching a movie. So.
I still have more podcasts to do.
So that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can also find me on all the social media places and the Peloton leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And maybe they won't. You can't find them.
I know.
And you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe, or on Blue Sky and/or Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. And you can find the show online at facebook.com/theclipout and our Patreon, patreon.com/theclipout. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
And rowing.
and running.